Hello students, in the previous video we have learned regarding two methods of chemical analysis. Okay, we have learned about Mortal-Pasteur method and then we have learned about destructive method. Okay, and we said that through Mortal-Pasteur method we can know about the organic compounds present in the tissue, and through destructive method we can know about the inorganic compounds or inorganic elements present in the tissue. Okay, and we also said that acid soluble fraction will get filtered and it will come down and it will get accumulated in the vessel, whereas acid insoluble fraction will remain on the upper part of the cheesecloth, and acid insoluble fractions will have large macromolecules or large biomolecules, whereas acid soluble fraction will have small biomolecules which are having small molecular weight. Okay, so acid soluble fraction will have such biomolecules which are having low molecular weight, whereas acid insoluble fraction will have such type of biomolecules which are having high molecular weight. Okay, so we have learned regarding that in the last video, and today we are going to learn about the new topic, that is amino acids. Okay, we are going to learn about amino acid. Okay, the last paragraph which is given on the right side of the page, that we are going to learn. Okay, and that says about amino acids. Okay, so amino acid is the smallest unit or monomer of protein. Amino acids are smallest unit, or we can say they are the monomer of protein. If protein is a polymer, then it is made up of many amino acids. So amino acids are monomer of the protein. If protein is the polymer, then amino acid is its monomer. Amino acid is its monomer. Okay, so amino acid is the smallest unit or monomer of the protein, because protein is polymer and this protein is made up of many amino acids. Okay, or it is made up of many monomers called amino acids. Okay, so amino acids are smallest unit or monomer of the protein, and they are present in the acid soluble fraction. Amino acids are found in the acid soluble fraction, so they will be collected in the vessel down to the cheesecloth. Okay, under the cheesecloth. Okay, so the vessel which is there under the cheesecloth will have amino acids, because amino acids have low molecular weight. Amino acids have low molecular weight. Amino acid is a biomolecule and its molecular weight is low, so it gets filtered from the cheesecloth and it will come down and it will get accumulated in the vessel. Okay, as its molecular weight is low, so they are found in the acid soluble fraction, and actually amino acids are substituted methane. In fact, the amino acids are substituted methane. Okay, if we see the structure of the amino acid, then we can say that amino acids are substituted methane. How can we say? See, this is the chemical formula of methane is there, CH4. You all know this. Okay, the chemical formula of methane is CH4. You can write it down in this manner. Okay, we can write it in this manner also. Here carbon is there and 4 valency of carbon is filled by the hydrogen by covalent bond. Okay, here covalent bond is there and 4 valency has been filled by the 4 hydrogen. Okay, now if we substitute 3 hydrogens, by amino group, by carboxyl group and by R group, then we can get the structure of the amino acid. This is the structure of amino acid is there. Here we have substituted this hydrogen. We have substituted this hydrogen by this amino group. We have substituted this hydrogen by this amino group. We have substituted this hydrogen by this R group, and we have substituted this hydrogen by this carboxylic group. Okay, so in total 3 hydrogens are substituted by amino group, R group and carboxyl group, and in turn we get the structure of the amino acid. So here we are getting the structure of amino acid by substituting the methane. Okay, so that's why we can say that amino acids are substituted methane. Amino acids are substituted methane. Why? Because here we are substituting the 3 hydrogens of methane with help of amino group, R group and carboxyl group, and then we are getting the structure of the amino acid. So amino acids are substituted methane. They are nothing else but substituted methane. Okay, Here, amino group, carboxyl group, R group and H group are present on the same carbon. If you see the structure of the amino acid, one carbon is there, and on this same carbon, amino group is attached, R group is also attached, carboxyl group is attached, and hydrogen is also attached. So amino group, carboxyl group, R group and H group all are attached or all are present on the same carbon, which is known as alpha carbon. So this carbon is known as alpha carbon. Why? Because all groups are attached on the same carbon. All groups are attached on the same carbon. So this carbon is known as alpha carbon. And that's why the amino acids are also known as alpha amino acid. This amino acid is known as alpha amino acid. Why? Because all groups like amino group, carboxyl group, R group and H group are present on the same carbon. This carbon is called as alpha carbon, and so amino acids are also known as alpha amino acids. Okay? Chalo. So what we have said that amino acid is the smallest unit of the protein, or it is the monomer of protein. Protein is the polymer and it is made up of many amino acids. And amino acids are present in the acid soluble fraction. They are collected in the vessel as their molecular weight is low, and they are substituted methane. When we substitute the 3 hydrogens of methane with help of amino group, R group and carboxyl group, we get this structure, and this structure is known as amino acid. And in this structure, the amino group, R group, carboxyl group and hydrogen are present on the same carbon, and that's why we call this carbon as alpha carbon and this amino acid as alpha amino acid. This amino acid is known as alpha amino acid because all groups are present on the same carbon. Okay? Now let's talk about the types of amino acid. How many types of amino acids are there? Total 20 types of amino acids are there, and these types are based on the type of R group. Okay, which kind of R group is there, that will decide the type of the amino acid. Total 20 types of amino acids are there, but they are based on the type of the R group. Okay, so if there is R1, then it will be a new type of amino acid. Then if there is R2, then it will be another type of amino acid. If there is R3, then it will be third type of amino acid. If there is R4, then it will be fourth kind of amino acid. In total, we can have 20 types of amino acids based on the type of R group. Okay, based on the type of R group, we can have 20 types of amino acids. Okay, so there are 20 types of amino acids, and these amino acids are classified on the basis of type of R. Which kind of R group is there, that will decide the type of amino acid. We will see its example over here. Okay, we will see its example over here. Then let's talk about the physical and chemical properties of the amino acids. Physical and chemical properties of amino acids depend on amino group, R group and carboxyl group. Physical and chemical properties of amino acids depend on R group, amino group and carboxyl group. So these 3 groups will decide that which kind of physical property will be there in amino acid. Okay, so amino acid will the physical and chemical properties of amino acid is dependent on R group, amino group and carboxylic group. Okay, chalo. Say for example, if the amino acid is having more amino group, if an amino acid is there which is having more number of amino group, then that amino acid is known as basic amino acid. Okay, if an amino acid is there which is having more number of amino group, then that amino acid is known as basic amino acid. An example of basic amino acid are arginine, and lysine. Arginine and lysine are basic amino acid, and they are having more number of amino group in compared to carboxyl group. Okay, more number of amino groups are there in compared to carboxyl group, and that's why this amino acid is known as basic amino acid. An example of basic amino acid is arginine and lysine. Then if an amino acid is having more number of carboxylic group, if an amino acid is having more number of carboxylic group, then that amino acid is known as acidic amino acid. That amino acid is known as acidic amino acid. Say for example, glutamic acid and aspartic acid. Okay, glutamic acid and aspartic acid are examples of acidic amino acid because they are having more number of carboxylic group in compared to amino group. Okay, and if an amino acid is having equal number of amino group and carboxyl group, if the amino acid is having equal number of amino group and carboxyl group, then it is known as neutral amino acid. That amino acid is known as neutral amino acid, and example of neutral amino acid is valine. Example of neutral amino acid is valine. Okay. Chalo. So what we have learned, we have said that physical and chemical properties of amino acids depend on the R group, carboxyl group and amino group. Physical and chemical properties of the amino acid depend on R group, amino group and carboxyl group. Okay. If the amino acid is having more number of amino group, then it is known as basic amino acid. Example are arginine and lysine. If the amino acid is having more number of carboxylic group than amino group, then it is known as acidic amino acid. Example is glutamic acid and aspartic acid. If the amino acid is having equal number of amino group and carboxyl group, then that amino acid is known as neutral amino acid. Example is valine. Okay, and if the these are the three amino acids: basic, acidic, and neutral. Then there is fourth category of amino acid, which is known as aromatic amino acid. If aromatic group is present as R group, okay, if aromatic group is present as R group, then that amino acid is known as aromatic amino acid. And example of aromatic amino acids are tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. Tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. These are the three amino acids which are known as aromatic amino acids because aromatic group is present as R group. Aromatic group is present as R group. That's why they are known as aromatic amino acid. Tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. These are the three examples of aromatic amino acid. Okay. Chalo. Now we have said in the previous part that the type of the amino acid is based on the type of the R group. Type of the amino acid is based on the type of the R group. Say for example, if hydrogen is present as R group, okay, if hydrogen is present as R group, say for example like this, okay, here hydrogen is present in place of R, okay, hydrogen is present in place of R or as R we can say, okay, hydrogen is present as R. This part is same, amino group, carboxyl group and hydrogen. These three things are same, but here hydrogen is there. Then this amino acid is known as glycine. This amino acid is known as glycine because here hydrogen is there as R group. Okay, hydrogen is present as R group. So this amino acid is known as glycine. Here you can see that methyl group is present as R group. Methyl group is present as R group. So this amino acid is known as alanine. It is known as alanine. Okay. When methyl group is present as R group, then that amino acid is known as alanine. So what is the difference over here? These three groups are same. Okay. Amino, carboxyl and hydrogen groups are same. Only difference that lies is hydrogen and methyl group. Only difference is hydrogen and methyl group. Here hydrogen is present as R group. Here methyl group is present as R group. So that amino acid is known as alanine. These structures are given on the right side of the page. Okay, right page they are given. Okay. Chalo. Then if CH2OH means hydroxymethyl is present as R group. If hydroxymethyl is present as R group, then this kind of structure will be there. Okay, and this structure is known as serine. This amino acid is known as serine because hydroxymethyl is there. Okay, so based on the type of R, there are 20 types of amino acid. Based on the types of R, there are 20 types of amino acid. Okay, so in this manner 20 types of amino acids are there. Okay, so what we have learned so far, we have said that amino acid is the smallest unit of the protein. Amino acid is known as monomer of the protein. Protein is the polymer of amino acid, and amino acids are found in the acid soluble fraction, and they are substituted methane. Say for example, this is a structure of methane is there, and if we substitute amino, carboxyl and R group by if we substitute 3 hydrogen by amino, carboxyl and R group, then we can get the structure of the amino acid. And amino, carboxyl, R and H group are present on the same carbon, so they are known as that carbon is known as alpha carbon, and this amino acid are known as alpha amino acid. And there are 20 types of amino acid based on the R group. If hydrogen is present as R, then it is glycine. If methyl group is present as R, then it is alanine, and if hydroxymethyl is present as R, then it is serine. Okay. Then physical and chemical properties of amino acids depend on the R group, amino group and carboxyl group. Okay, if it is having more number of amino group than carboxyl group, then it is known as basic amino acid like arginine and lysine. And if it is having more number of carboxyl group than amino group, then that amino acid is known as acidic amino acid like glutamic acid and aspartic acid. And if there are equal number of amino group and carboxyl group, then it is known as neutral amino acid. An example of neutral amino acid is valine. Okay, and if aromatic group is present as R group, then that amino acid is known as aromatic amino acid. Examples are tryptophan, tyrosine and phenylalanine. Okay, now what we are going to discuss about the amino acid is about the ionizing property of amino group and carboxyl group. We are going to discuss that in the next slide. We will talk about the ionizing property of amino group and carboxyl group. So please wait for some time. We will discuss that in the next slide. So students, we are going to talk about the last point regarding amino acid, that is the property of ionization. Okay, property of ionization. And property of ionization is found in both amino group as well as carboxyl group of amino acid. Property of ionization is found in both amino group as well as carboxyl group. Okay, say for example, if we keep an amino acid in the alkali medium, here we have kept this amino acid in an alkali medium. This is an alkali medium is there where we have kept this amino acid, and this is an acidic medium is there where we have kept an amino acid. So here we have kept our amino acid in the alkali medium, and here we have kept our amino acid in a acidic medium. Now what will happen? In the alkali medium, the amino acid works as acid. In the alkali medium, amino acid works as acid. And what is the property of acid? The property of acid is to donate the hydrogen. Generally, acids donate their hydrogen. Okay? Generally, acids, all acids donate their hydrogen. So when we keep our amino acids in the alkali medium, they will donate their hydrogen. Okay, so when they donate their hydrogen, when this amino acid donates the hydrogen, it will lose hydrogen from here. And this part will become negative. And that donated hydrogen will be joined by this hydroxyl group, and here neutralization will be there. This medium will become neutral. Okay, so in the alkaline medium, amino acid works as acid, and they donate their hydrogen and ultimately develop negative charge on the carboxyl group. Okay, what I am saying, in the alkaline medium, amino acids work as acid and they donate their hydrogen to the medium. And after donating their hydrogen to the medium, they develop negative charge on the carboxyl group. In this manner, the carboxyl group has been ionized. Okay, here carboxyl group has become ionized. Okay, chalo. So through this we have proved that this carboxyl group can get ionized in the alkali medium. Carboxyl group will get ionized in the alkali medium. Now if we keep our amino acid in the acidic medium, then what will happen? In the acidic medium, amino acid will work as alkali. In the acidic medium, amino acid will work as alkali, and they will accept the hydrogen. Here they were donating the hydrogen. Here they will accept the hydrogen. So medium will give hydrogen to the amino acid. The medium will give hydrogen to amino acid. So medium now will become neutral. And after donating hydrogen to the amino acid, medium will become neutral. And this extra hydrogen is will get fitted, or it will get incorporated on the amino group, and it will develop positive charge. Okay, so extra hydrogen will get incorporated on the amino group. Okay, and amino group will develop positive charge. Okay, here extra hydrogen cannot be incorporated on this group. Here extra hydrogen will be incorporated in the amino group, and that's why amino group will get positive charge. Okay, so in the acidic medium, amino acids work as alkali. In the acidic medium, amino acids work as alkali and they receive hydrogen from the medium, and this extra hydrogen gets incorporated in the amino part, and that's why positive charge develops on the amino acid. So this proves that the amino group can also get ionized. Amino group can also get ionized. So here we have said that carboxyl group has got ionized, and here we have said that amino group has got ionized. Okay. Say for example, sometimes both amino group and carboxyl group get ionized. Okay. Sometimes both amino group and carboxyl group can get ionized. Then what will happen? Say for example, amino group has become ionized and carboxyl group has also become ionized. Carboxyl group has also become ionized. Here amino group has also been ionized, carboxyl group has also become ionized, and R and H group there is no change. So amino group has ionized, carboxyl group has ionized. So this type of amino acid is known as Zwitter ion. This type of amino acid is known as Zwitter ion. Zwitter ion. What is Zwitter ion? Zwitter ion is that type of amino acid where both amino group and carboxyl group has been ionized. Both amino group and carboxyl group has been ionized. Okay, both amino group and carboxyl group are ionized on the same time. That amino acid is known as Zwitter ion. Okay, so Zwitter ion will work. Zwitter ion will work as this in this manner in the alkaline medium, and Zwitter ion will work as this in the acidic medium. Okay, if we place this Zwitter ion, in this medium, then it will work as this. Okay, and if you place the Zwitter ion in the acidic medium, then it will work as this. Okay, so these are the property of Zwitter ion. If you place the Zwitter ion in this medium, means alkaline medium, then it will behave like this, and if we place the Zwitter ion in this medium, then it will behave like this. Okay, so activity of the amino acid depend on the medium also. Okay, activity of the amino acids depend on the medium also. In the acidic medium, it works as alkali, and in the basic medium, it works as acid. Okay, in this manner, the activity of the amino acids depend on the medium also. Okay, so this is all about amino acid. Here we are finishing our topic of amino acid. We have learned about the first biomolecule of the chapter 9. Okay, whatever we have learned in the previous video, that was the introduction of the chapter. The real chapter has begun from this topic, that is amino acid. Okay, so we have covered the first biomolecule of chapter 9, that is amino acid. Please watch the video 2-3 times and learn the topic from the textbook, and then submit your homework. Okay, chalo, good luck.